Forget everything you know about LLMs because in the next few minutes, I teach you everything you need to master them. We'll cover all the basics like what an LLM is, how it generates answers, and some key terminologies. Also, I'll tell you a super simple method to get the right answers from LLM every single time. So let's get into it. So what exactly is an LLM? Think of AI like a newborn child. Its neural network is its brain. Now we can train it on anything we want, but researchers, they decided to train AI on the natural language, the language I'm speaking to you right now. Any language we humans speak is called natural language. AI was trained to talk like that. Now these AI models were called language models, and there are large language models and small language models. So LLM is large language models. But have you ever heard about small language models? LLMs are used in daily basis like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude. A lot of people use them, but not a lot of people know about SLMs. So there are models like C3 and Gemma 3 by Google. C is by Microsoft. LLMs are very resource intensive. They need big GPUs, a lot of electricity to run. But these SLMs are very easy to run. It can run even on your mobile phones. So that's how effective these are. But what's the difference? And why do people prefer LLMs? LLMs are trained on a lot of data, a lot of parameters, way more than SLMs. And SLMs are trained on less data. So does that mean that LLMs are better than SLMs? Well, the answer is not that easy. LLM is trained on a lot of data, but what if that data is not good enough? Data quality is what matters. If the data quality is low, then no matter how much you train an AI, the output will be also bad. If you are training an SLM and you have the highest quality of data, then SLM can sometimes perform better than LLM if the LLM is trained on poor quality data. Now I will talk to you about the training process, how these LLMs are actually trained. First of all, I told you AI is like a newborn baby. It can be trained on raw data, whatever you want. And in machine learning, it uses structured data to train itself because it's easier to learn. Once it's good in recognizing patterns in structured data, then next it's trained in unstructured data. Even if the data is unstructured, it will find general patterns in it. That is called deep learning. Then we got the LLM, what we have right now. Have you ever wondered how do these LLMs actually answer? Like how would they come up with an answer? They use a process called language modeling. They predict the next word in the sequence. The way LLMs come up with answers, it's very different than human brain. LLMs are just very superior in mathematics. What it does is it uses probability to find the next word in the sentence. As you can see in the sentence, after this word, what word should come? Which word has the highest probability? It's chose among this lot. It predicts what's the next best choice from its training data. Now, what if the training data is more? How it will help? If the training data is massive, the context becomes a lot more. And as a result, this model becomes incredibly good at predicting the next word in any sequence. And a lot of people say, machine, they can't lie. This was like an old saying. But right now, I would say that's totally untrue. AI lies all the time. Don't trust a large language model blindly. A lot of people do. So this is a warning for them. Please don't, because I'll show you a live example why you should not. So this is Google AI Studio. What is today's date? It has no context of the date. So it will come back with the same answer. May 15, 2024. Because its knowledge cutoff only is until that date. That's why it comes up with that date. So it has very successfully lied to us. It's not actually a lie. It's very naive. It doesn't know. It doesn't have the context. Now I'm using Google 2.5 Flash. So now it comes back with the right date. Today is indeed October 19, 2025. What is the right answer? Because it could search for it. Now it has extra context. We need to give them the right context so they don't make stuff up. Next, let's learn few basic terms in the LLM glossary, because if you're going to work with LLMs, you are going to encounter these words. So first is tokens. When we input something into an LLM, what it does is, first of all, it breaks up that input. Now, example, this is a white tiger. It's broken up into words. And what it does is, it turns that into numerical address. Why does it do this? Because LLM is the most comfortable with numbers. For example, think of yourself. If English is not your first language and you are just learning English, there's a huge chance that when someone else talks to you in English, you convert that into your first language in your mind. And there's a huge chance that your inner thoughts are also in your first language. And after that, when you gather your thoughts, you translate it into English and talk. So that's exactly what's happening here. The first language of LLM is numbers. So what it does is the natural language is transferred into numerical address, and after that it maps the right data in the numerical address and transforms that again into tokens, then outputs it. So I hope you understand what's tokens and what's embeddings. The conversion of tokens into numerical address is called embedding. Prediction of the next words happen in embeddings. So that's all about tokens. Now let's understand what's context window. Now there's huge amount of data on which LLM is trained. All of that data will stay in the long-term memory of the LLM. So when you open up a chat and talk to an LLM, all that conversation goes into the short-term memory. That's called context window. I'll show you an example. I'm asking Gemini to call me Vicky. So it just called me Vicky. Now I'll ask it what's my name. So it says my name is Vicky. Pretty straightforward. But now when I delete this chat and come back, this time it doesn't know my name. When I exited the chat and started new chat, it forgot. The active short-term memory of AI is called context window. A lot of AI has 256K tokens of context window. This is one token. But models like Gemini 2.5 Pro has 1.5 million tokens. If you are learning AI automation, all this is really important for you. That's why I'm trying to teach you all this. But nowadays, a lot of LLMs are trying to solve this problem by giving something called extended memory. So if you go to ChatGPT and if you are a pro user, especially, when you talk, you can have context across the chats. Now, right now, if you're having a conversation with an LLM, what that LLM will do is a small summary of that conversation will be sent to the long-term memory of the LLM, only the important parts of the chat. So that's been done in ChatGPT right now. I hope you got the rough idea on what a context window is. Now let's understand what's temperature. If you have seen this is not the temperature which you check. This is the temperature setting in LLM. As you can see, in simple words, temperature is nothing but a creativity setting for LLM. If the temperature is high, you're giving it more creative freedom that it can come up with anything it wants. This differs from its training data. For example, this setting can be used if you want to try something creative using LLMs. But low temperature is used when you want exactly the same data from the source. For example, you're asking an LLM that I need an exact definition from the Oxford Dictionary. So for that, you can use low temperature so that it comes up with the exact same definition. So I hope you understand what temperature is. Now let's see something interesting called chain of thought. There was this old problem with LLMs that they come up with the quickest possible answer there is. They don't think it through. It's not always right. There was a big case study called strawberry. So what is a strawberry case study? So as a human, if you ask someone how many hours are there in this, you could say 1, 2, 3. There are 3 hours in strawberry. But an LLM was not able to find this out without reasoning for a long time. I'll show you. And if I ask the model how many hours are there in strawberry, it will come back with the answer of 2 hours, which is utterly wrong. But now let's ask a model with reasoning and you ask the same question to it. This is called chain of thought. It's actually thinking. It's breaking a complex problem into simpler steps. First, it identifies the question it's trying to understand and it's mapping each character. And as you can see, it initially missed 1 hour, like all LLM does. It initially missed 1 hour and it realized that it has missed 1 hour. So it carefully rescanned it. And after that, it understood that there are 3 hours in it. And it confirmed that answer and came back with 3 hours in strawberry. So this is a famous case study of strawberry. So that was chain of thought and the interesting case study. Now we are done with all the basic terms. But the last topic for today is how we can actually get the right answers from an LLM. So there was this thing called prompt engineering, which is not very famous now, but it was. So the last 2 years, prompt engineering was a rage. But now people are not talking about it because it's not relevant anymore. I'll tell you why. Because prompt engineering is where you give them a role, the context, instructions, output format, and there are a lot more things, which is very annoying because as a human, you can't always talk to an LLM like this. Like you must have a rigid structure and all that. So what's the best way to talk to an LLM? It's something called proactive prompting. Now, what is proactive prompting? This is the opposite of proactive prompting, where you just yell at LLMs. When you give it a paragraph and it gives you a paragraph, you say, make it shorter, make it this, make it that. And every time you get different answers. So that's not what we want. Let's approach it in the most easiest way. Think about talking to a friend. For example, you're telling your friend that you just had a breakup. Your friend wouldn't just open his mouth and start saying, these are the 6 ways to get through a breakup. And he won't give you the list. That's definitely not how it works. So this is how a normal conversation would go. Hey bro, I had a breakup. Whoa, I didn't know that you had a girlfriend. Yeah, I had a girl. So when did this happen? Today it happened. If you're comfortable, can you tell me why it happened? So do you understand the sequence? So there are a lot of questions happening, 2 and 4. Your friend is trying to get as much context as possible. So that's exactly how we have to talk to an LLM. I'll show you an example. So look at this prompt. Hey, I want to start a business and I want you to ask me all the right questions until you are satisfied that you have complete context on the situation. So you can make a solid business plan. So I want the LLM to make a solid business plan and I want it to ask me all the right questions. It would help me if it's a back and forth communication rather than all the questions in one shot. You don't have to copy the same text. You can prompt it in your own way. I just wanted the LLM to ask me the right questions and not everything in a single time. If you prompt it to ask the right questions, it may give you a list of questions. I don't want that. If you like talking like that, then go ahead. It's your wish. But I want a humane back and forth conversation like I had with my friend. So I'm going to send this prompt. So it started with few questions here. What industry and what kind of problem am I trying to solve? And if I answer that, you give me the next question and back and forth. That is called proactive prompting. So that was everything you need to know about LLM. And I had to announce you that this is actually video 1 of a course which will take you from zero to advanced in AI automation. So the first phase will be about AI tools. I'll be teaching you about every AI tools out there so that you can use them in your automation workflows. If you're seriously interested in learning AI automation, and even if you're a beginner and you don't know how to code, it doesn't matter. You can subscribe to my channel because I'll be continuously uploading videos on this series so that you can learn more about AI and automation. See you in the next video.